We're Dre and Wiley from Suits to Sandals. We spent the last 74 days through biking the East Coast Greenway from Maine to Florida with the real star of the show, our Siberian Husky Misha in tow. Follow along as we navigate our first through biking tour over 2,893 miles down the east coast of the United States.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Dre and Wiley from Suits to Sandals, and we just got back from a monster bike tour from Calais, Maine to Key West, Florida. So one of the things we wanted to do is put a little video together about the Burley Tail Wagon trailer that we picked up for this trip, and we think it'd be very helpful for some to see the information about why we chose it.
So when we originally started thinking about biking the East Coast Greenway, we knew that we wanted to take our dog with us. And Misha is a 12-and-a-half-year-old, 68-pound Siberian Husky. So the first thing I was looking for was a trailer that actually could hold that capacity. And the only one on the market for a mid to large size dog was the Burley Tail Wagon. So I was very limited on what I could get. But as I was doing more research, I couldn't find a lot of reviews on it for YouTube, so I just had to read reviews from Chewy and from REI. The trailer is basically aluminum frame, and for dogs for up to 75 pounds. We knew we wouldn't be able to carry anything in the trailer with her because she was almost at the max capacity. As I read about it, basically has mesh on all sides, so it was super breathable. It came with a safety flag. With us doing a lot of road riding with the East Coast Greenway, I wanted something for visibility, and it had detachable quick release wheels. So these wheels are 16-inch and they come off and on, so when we got a flat tire it was really easy to change it.
Didn't hurt that the trailer is bright yellow right out of the box. We like that as well.
Yeah. As far as assembly, when it came in the box, it was really quick to assemble. There's not a lot of pieces, it's already put together. So I just had to pop up the top and click in the brackets and put the wheels on. And then the only other part that didn't come on was this metal piece behind here, which basically links the trailer to the bike. Other than that, it's fully assembled, so it's very easy to put together, which is nice.
So when we first hashed out this plan and decided we were taking this adventure, we only really secured our bikes in the trailer about 3 weeks before the trip started. One of the big concerns was, how was Misha going to do on an adventure like this? She had never ridden in a trailer before behind our bikes. We weren't really road cyclists, we were more the mountain biking type, and she was usually napping while we were out enjoying our rides. What's cool about this trailer is you can pop the wheels off and it lays perfectly flat on the ground. And so we took it out of the box, we set it up, we kept the wheels off it, and we put a little padded bed on the inside so that she remained comfortable. And essentially we treated it like a crate.
So we bought this bed on discount for $7 at PetSmart, and it fit pretty well into the trailer.
The idea was to get her familiar with it and to get her to hopefully enjoy it. We wanted her to use it as a crate, if you will, before we even took off on the adventure. So we coaxed her into it. We gave her treats anytime that she went into it and wanted to lay in it, and next thing you know, she was treating it just like any other dog would for their own personal crate, and she actually spent a lot of time in it, so that was perfect. Then we took it to the next level. We hooked it up to the bike, we brought it outside, we popped her in, and we would do short little rides down the road in our neighborhood and back, and also give her treats and rewards for riding along.
One of the things that we thought were super helpful for her safety is when she was in the trailer, she always had her harness on, and we took a short leash, only like a 4-foot leash, and we looped it around the top. So when we stopped, she had a little bit of room. She could get out of the trailer, but she couldn't get loose. So this length of leash actually was perfect for when she wanted to get out and walk or run next to the bike. It allowed her to be not all the way up to my front wheel, but kind of in the middle of the bike, and still be able to stop to go to the bathroom if she needed to, And putting her leash on the frame up here kind of worked out perfectly for all the things that she needed to do. So I recommend attaching it here instead of to the D-rings if you want your dog to be able to also get out and exercise too and not always be in the trailer. So there's a lot of things we liked about the trailer, and it was very well built. I'd say the first thing that was really convenient being on a bike tour, if you're going to use this for a bike tour with your dog, is the fact that these are 16-inch tires. These tires and tubes you can basically find anywhere because they're typical size of kids' bikes. So that was amazing and so easy to find if we got a flat or if we had to replace the tires. Also, how comfortable it was for her. We did get the bedding, and I think that I would recommend to get some type of memory foam or like a bed to put inside of it because there is no suspension on the trailer, and if you're going over bumpy stuff, it just, for an older dog like Maisha, she didn't seem to mind that, going over those bumps if we had the padding in there. She seemed very comfortable in the trailer itself, but didn't like when we had the back flap down. So if it was raining, we would close it up just so she didn't get soaking wet, but she really wasn't a fan of having this down. So that's just going to depend on your dog and if they'll actually stay in the trailer. We were very fortunate, and Maisha just knew that when we were riding, she couldn't get out of the trailer. I think if she had to have the cover down all the time, she wouldn't have been as comfortable because she is a larger sized dog. But if you had a smaller dog, it's probably fine.
She actually learned as we went the rules of the road, if you will. So she intuitively figured out that when we were on busy public roads with cars and traffic and noise that she could not get out of the trailer. She didn't even try. However, when we were on greenways, she knew, and she would get a little bit more anxious and let us know that it was her turn to get out and walk. And it was really funny because she'd scoot all the way to the back of the trailer and kind of hang out and really be sniffing the sniffs. And, she figured it out. She's like, okay, we're on a greenway. It's my turn. I want to walk. And that's exactly when we were comfortable letting her get out and walk next to the bikes, not on public roads.
I think in the beginning of the route, we were really nervous. Anytime there was a lined road and a poor shoulder, we were having the flap down just for her protection. But it took her maybe 4 or 5 days to get adjusted to know like when was safe for her to get out and when wasn't. So that was just something she knew intuitively, and that was really nice to not have to like worry about her.
Yeah, and by the time we got to the end of the trip down in Florida, that flap was open the entire day.
The other thing that we really liked about the trailer was the packability. These quick release tires are awesome because we could take them off as soon as we got to our hotel room or campground and detach it from the bike and either collapse it or just have the wheels off, and then Maisha could lay in it or sleep in it at night. And it's just so easy to collapse and pack away and not take up a bunch of space. It could either go out under a bed or go in a closet, and it was out of the way. And lastly, it did come with a Burley flag, and we did use this for almost 3,000 miles of the East Coast Greenway. It has an extension. We don't have it on right now, but the extension pops it up to be about 5 feet tall. It was important for us because we were doing a lot of road riding to have that just extra visibility. But for her safety as well, whenever we were riding, she was always in the middle. So whoever rode had her in the front, and then the other person was in the back so that we had her sandwiched in between us. We did add one more thing to the trailer, an extra additional blinky red light to have in the back of the trailer for a little bit more visibility.
In all fairness, we also have to talk about the things that didn't work out perfectly for us along this trip. Nothing catastrophic, but a couple things worth mentioning if you're thinking about doing the same thing or something similar with your dog. So one of the first things that we figured out pretty early on in the trip is that the trailer is not ideally suited for off-road or gravel type situation, so non-paved surfaces. I mean, we didn't buy it to do a lot of off-roading, but the East Coast Greenway does have a fair amount of rail trail that isn't always paved. The quick release is really convenient because you can pop a wheel on and off really quick when you need to pack it down or put it away, but they can also wiggle out if you're on any kind of rougher terrain. So we did have to pay attention to the wheels throughout the entire journey just to make sure that they were always on securely and not loosening their way out. One of the things that I did do was I removed each wheel, and there is a nut on the end of it that you can tighten down. So I incrementally tightened it and adjusted the quick release to the point where it was very, very hard to put the quick release on. And the goal there was to make it as tight as possible without breaking it or bending it. And that seemed to minimize the problem, but they do still work themselves loose. The second thing we noticed fairly early on in the trip is that it does have a parking brake built onto the frame. And the parking brake is basically just designed so that the trailer doesn't roll away on you if you're leaving it somewhere or if it's not attached to the bike. That wasn't very beneficial for us because we were not really ever in a situation where the trailer wouldn't be attached to a bike or off the bike completely in a campground or hotel room or anything like that. If you are going down the road, there's obviously bumps, even on paved surfaces. There's all kinds of things that you're going to hit and go over along the way. Those little bumps slowly would allow the parking brake to essentially open up and start making contact with the wheels. Then you'd have to stop and you'd have to push it off of the tires to allow the trailer to roll freely again. And that kept happening enough that I had to put a zip tie on it to basically lock it in the open position. We didn't really use it, honestly. We plan on using this trailer again for future trips. I will probably completely remove the parking brake from the trailer.
Another thing that just didn't work for us, and it's partly because of Maisha's size, is you see a bunch of photos of dogs sitting basically out of the front of the trailer. Because of the size of her, she basically would have ran into the rear tire. So the shape of the trailer just didn't make sense for the size of the dog. So we never had this front flap open because we were just afraid that because she's poor eyesight, I was worried that she was going to hit her face on my tire when we were riding. So we left the front flap closed all the time, and if she wanted to look out, she just had to look backwards instead of forwards. Not the biggest deal, and she adjusted quickly and was comfortable with sitting and looking backwards instead of forwards. But I think if the shape was opposite and the pole wasn't right on the top where you clip it together, that it might work front facing. But it wasn't a huge deal. It just, we couldn't use it the way that they were showing it.
So the last thing I'll mention actually has to do with the tires. So I don't think Burley engineers sat down and designed this trailer for a 3,000 mile trip. I think they were more thinking neighborhood laps, cul-de-sacs and trips to the park and back with the dogs. So no foul there. But the tires that came with the trailer, they lasted about 1,000 miles. So just to give you some comparison, the tires on our bikes both made it almost 3,000 miles without needing replacement. So the tires that it comes with are definitely adequate for smaller local type riding. Probably not the best ones for a big long trip. We weren't going to not use them. So we definitely used them to their full capacity. In about 1,000 miles, at that point, they needed to be replaced. We picked a tire that had a little bit more tread than the ones that they came with, and that tire was significantly better.
One of the things that we do recommend, though, is picking up an extra bracket. This bracket is what connects the bike to the trailer. It only comes with one of them, and on our tour, we needed to share the load of the 68-pound dog. We picked up a second bracket. It wasn't until we got all the way to New York that we knew that we could get an extra bracket. So from New York all the way down to Key West, we would switch on and off with the dog. And then we wouldn't have to take off the bracket or switch bikes, which we were doing in the beginning. Do yourself a favor, go on Amazon, pick up this bracket. I think we paid maybe $15 or $20, and it was fantastic because then when we wanted to switch Maisha onto the different bikes, we just had to remove the pin and move her from one bike to the other.
So yes, you heard that right. From Maine to New York, we were physically switching bikes. Because I had no way to take the trailer off and hook it up to my bike, so I would ride Dre's bike, she would ride my bike. We're pretty lucky in that we're both around the large size frame. Our bikes are very similarly sized, so we made it work. That's not going to work for everybody, so don't do what we did. To bring this post-ride review to a conclusion, at the end of the day, We are very happy with the Burley Tail Wagon trailer, and it did exactly what we needed it to do for our trip, and we do plan to use it in the future for some of our next and upcoming adventures.
And Maisha is thrilled with this trailer, and I think that's the most important part, is just to make sure your dog actually likes being in the trailer and going on the adventures. And we were very fortunate that it worked out, and now we know that we can bring her along with more biking adventures that we do.
Yeah, I almost feel bad breaking the trailer down and putting it away because we've been off the bikes for about a week and a half now. She's in it every day, so it may have to just stay out until our next adventure.
So that is our review of the Burley Tail Wagon trailer. If you are interested in more information on the trailer, feel free to leave a comment below and we'll get back to you.